This week we are at Boulder Wellness Week. Yesterday we went to a seminar called Eat Local, Impact Global, Building Resilient Communities. And Paige was actually the MC, the leader of that panel. I thought it was so quickly before I introduced Paige, I thought it was so interesting that local food is considered to be healthier for the body, right? It's more nutritive. But, and it's also good for the planet with a lower carbon footprint. But something that we don't always think about is that local food builds community and community builds emotional and mental health. And that was my biggest takeaway is I was like, dang, that's why local food is important, because I had the feeling of why local food was important, but I'd never really thought through all the different reasons why. So, Paige, you led that panel, and what were some other key takeaways or another important key takeaway that you got from that panel yesterday?
Yeah, well, thank you, Kubi, for having me on this first episode, and excited to be here with you today. I think it's a topic that I'm so passionate about. Coming from a global food background, working for Fortune 100 companies that have a global supply chain, and then really boiling down my career to focus more on the local food movement and really focusing on what I consider bioregional resilience. So it's not just about food, it's about becoming resilient as a community, and food and nourishment is at the epicenter of that, not just because it's how we fuel our bodies, but it's because it's how we come together as a culture and as a community. And so I've become really passionate. And, I think the other panelist, Phil from Mad Ag, he's, created a national footprint of local food. And I think that we have to start thinking both national and local and start thinking about our bioregion and how we can source energy, not just in the form of food, but in the form of community more locally.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's so smart. And actually now is a great time to introduce Paige. So this is Page Mitchum, someone who's doing really important work in the natural products industry. Paige is the co-founder of Blue Quest, which is a solutions agency for brands and businesses that's focused on health and wellness and regenerative ag. So Paige, tell me a little bit more about Blue Quest. What's a solutions-based agency mean? What does that mean?
Yeah, my co-founder Lee Buckley and I, we founded Blue Quest after spending 13 years in-house with brands. We worked with hundreds of agencies. We worked across dozens of brands. And really what we saw was that actually within the CPG industry, the tenure for a CMO, a head of marketing, is only 15 months. It's an incredibly short tenure. And a lot of founders are investing a lot in CMOs that just start building their team and their strategy, and then they move on to something else. And the reality is that our world is moving really quickly. Brands need solutions. And so we founded Blue Quest to basically be a hybrid marketing team and agency model, and taking all of our experience in growing and building brands. And we work with brands from strategy all the way to execution. And we have a full house team of creatives and advertising professionals that we work with and partner with other agencies on things like PR to really break full service. But it all starts from that strategy. And then how can we build a strategy that solves the problems for the brands and the businesses? I think a lot of agencies get fancy, that get excited. They like to spend a lot of money experimenting on different things. And what we really like to look at is what's going to make a brand successful in the marketplace, and how can we tell their story in the most authentic and compelling way. So that's a little bit about what we do.
Sad that that's such a rare thing, and awesome that what an efficient way to use someone's budget is to really have the solutions top of mind, and keeping that in mind with everything you do. So we also just went to another seminar, and Paige was also on the panel for that, and that was called Mastering Marketing to Health Conscious Consumers. I want to talk about a huge core piece of that, of successful marketing, which is really storytelling. So, where do CPG brands start with telling their story? I know this is right back at the beginning, but a lot of our audience are folks who are small and are still thinking this through. But not only the small folks, right? The medium and the large companies too can use help with their storytelling. So where do we start? Where are they going wrong? What are some of the pitfalls that you often see? Just give us some general advice about storytelling for CPG specifically.
Yeah. You're never too small and you're never too big to tell your story. So I think that really what I wish a lot more founders would do is just write. I think people get really shy or feel like it has to be this polished thing, and we can help you with that. But just start writing. And so just write down your story, write down the essence of what you were excited about to start this business? I'm going to grab my hat.
We'll be right back after this word.
Really write down what excited you to start the business. What problem did it solve in your life? What is the essence of your business? What do you creatively feel inspired or called to? Just write all that down, and then that can be shaped into a story. But so often I feel like I have to play wordsmith and almost like put words into founders' mouths or try to find, it's like a hide and seek. It's like, oh, well, is it this? Is it this? When really I would love if founders or CEOs would just write down what they believe is compelling about their business and then share it with people who can help you craft it and shape it. Yeah.
Right. And that's exactly to your point, Paige. So many people, I mean, we're looking for our tribe, right? When we're making our purchases, if we're able to afford it, we're looking for who is reflecting our values and who is someone who I want to support and who is someone that makes me feel like this is my brand that I want to see on my shelf when I open my pantry. And telling your story and getting to the core of all the things that Paige just said is exactly what they're looking to hear. And so thinking through what those things are helps you connect with your potential customer.
Yeah. And I think, there's a lot of eyes on the Siete acquisition that just happened. The brand Siete got acquired for over $1 billion. A lot of people are paying attention to that and saying, wow, if you would believe back in 2016, 2017, Siete was actually called Just Be Nutty with a B, the letter B, not B, just a B. And they sold tortillas, and it was based on the fact that they used nuts, almond flour to create their tortillas. It was a very product-centric name. They thought that they were doing their customers a favor by telling them exactly what they were, but they weren't. And they got some advice from some people, and they changed to Siete, which is both the number of people in their family, and the Garza family is 7, and also a nod to their Mexican-American heritage. So even with one word, you can tell your story. I don't know that their company would have sold for $1 billion if they were still called Just Be Nutty.
Yeah.
And so I think that it doesn't have to be really lengthy. Just with one word and some iconography, you can tell a lot about your story and really start to build a community around that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that story. Thank you. Well, we just wanted to have a short first episode, so we really appreciate you guys tuning in for this. But before we go, I was hoping that Paige could tell us a little bit about Regen Circle, which I find fascinating, and I want to learn more. So yeah, Paige, tell us about that.
Yeah, that's a passion project for me. And so it's really a media collective that's focused on storytelling around culture. And so I think a big part of regeneration and of food is actually about culture. And I think in order for people to really buy into the regenerative food movement, or even for organic to grow beyond the relatively small niche that it is today, we're going to require a much larger cultural shift. And so the hope with Regen Circle is to create media that will educate and inspire that cultural shift in most people. It started as a podcast. I literally launched it the day I found out I was pregnant. And so it's taking a little bit of a hiatus as I take a maternity leave, but we're dreaming up a lot of big things for next year. And that's really it.
Oh, I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paige. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you, Kubi.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
See you
guys.
next time.